Yo, it's your boy, the famous homie, aka Ron, aka HNS 420 Higher Learning Podcast host with a special edition of the PolitiKan Podcast tonight. We out of Riverside Studios. We're gonna be interviewing Mr. PolitiKan himself, Kalum Vaughns. What's up, my boy?
What's the deal? What's the deal, fool?
Man. So, man, this is long overdue, man. So, I just want to go back a little bit, get straight into it. Years ago, when you was in Pasadena, getting into trouble, up to no good. I know you say that you had something that you wanted to do, but did you ever think that it would be this right here?
No, not at all. I mean, journalism in itself and production in itself, production equipment used to cost so much, and journalism is something that niggas never even heard of. As far as people where I come from, they don't really understand what kind of doors it opens up for you and what it actually entails. So it was never something that I could say that I knew that this was what it was going to be.
Right. So when I was doing some research, I checked your first episode out. I told you off camera, PolitiKan episode 0. And a lot of the conversations we've had throughout the last 2 years, those same conversations were in that episode. So when you came up with this whole plan in the beginning and you had a whole bunch of guys with you, did you think, but did you think that you would be facing yourself alone in a time where you guys are supposed to be building content and taking off and you found yourself alone? In that moment, did you just want to give up, or did you know that it was something else out there or somebody else out there that was going to be able to help you go to that next level?
I mean, I've been discouraged, but giving up was never an option. You know, my wife, she knew about my aspirations. She's the one that bought me my first mic and was like, let's go. So as long as I had her in my corner, it didn't matter to me who fell off. You know what I'm saying? Because if she got me, then, we're going to pick up the pieces and we're going to figure it out, even if it's just me and her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that ultimately gave me the support that I needed, that no matter who came along on this ride, as long as, she had my back, it didn't matter.
And it's good to hear that. Shout out to Jay. If you guys don't know, Kalum is now married. He said my wife now, not my girl. You know what I'm saying? So congratulations on taking that step and having that black love and showing everybody what it's supposed to be. We don't have that foundation to where, there's black love and there's support. Because a lot of times niggas got their girl or vice versa, they got their man, and the dreams aren't supported the right way. And you need that support from in the house. So, having that support, I know it pushed you a long way and told you to keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So starting out, podcast, living room. In the living room, I don't know what type of cameras you was using. I don't know what
I was using a cell phone. We had one mic for 5 niggas at a round table. We was smoking and drinking. And the one mic was enough because we was yelling and screaming. Niggas was standing up. Niggas was poking each other. It was getting it was getting pretty heated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what the eye opener for me was how you really don't know people until you have these conversations. You can be around people your whole life, lifetime friends. Until you bring up these topics and these conversations, do you realize who you sit next to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
that
was the biggest thing that I got out of starting off the podcast, is just how much information and knowledge gets spewed over just basic conversations this is why I knew podcasting was the future.
Right.
Because it's not scripted. It's not this. It's not talk television. It's not like you're going on Oprah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they are asking you, you're there to push your album. Right. So you're there to talk about a specific, subject matter or something.
Right.
Podcasts, they're talking about your past, your future, your present, sports, politics. So you actually get to know the person versus them spending 10 minutes on screen time on a television show.
Right. Facts.
Trying to sell you whatever they're about to sell you.
Right. It's more authentic. And it's funny you said that. I really didn't know how powerful podcasting was. I knew I wanted to do it. That's why I started mine. I wanted to talk some shit. But I learned a lot of that from you, the ins and outs and the potential, where it's going to go, the growth, and what it is. Learn that game. So when I met you, I saw what I saw. I saw, you had the studio in San Bernardino, top rooftop, 320 or whatnot. I walked in and I seen a music studio. I seen somebody that do photography. I seen the podcasting room. You had a room full of different creators. So talk about in the beginning the vision as to now. Like, is it the same, or what were you doing to think of all that, to put all that in pretty much one room?
One thing that I ran into early is vertical integration. And Nipsey kind of is one of the only rappers that actually ever spoke about this in his lyrics.
Yep.
In the victory lap, he said, I integrated vertically, y'all niggas blew it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he's like, I went to all y'all for help. I went to all y'all to put me on, and y'all didn't.
Right.
So now, instead of putting me on as a cameraman, I got my own cameraman. Instead of putting me on with the producer, I got my own producer. Right. I got my own in-house everything.
Right.
And that was the basis of my thinking, is that I need to create a basis or some type of platform where creators can create a network where if I get a job, production is like contracting.
Right.
For building.
Right.
If I'm going to build a house, I need, a carpenter, I need a plumber, I need the HVAC to come do the air conditioning. So same thing with a production. You're going to need different people to fill different roles.
Right.
In order for you to operate on the same level as the big dogs.
Right.
So my whole thought process was, if I collaborate and work with people that this is their dream, then it should be simple because they don't have to do anything but chase their own dream.
Right.
So if you're a rapper and I got a studio and I put you in the studio with an engineer and a producer and 2 more rappers, all you got to do is come in and rap because the engineer's there to record you, the producer's there to feed you beats, the rappers are there to inspire you to collaborate with.
Right.
So it's just like a lot of people, they don't understand the ins and outs of the back end, and they just want to be who they are.
Right.
So instead of me being a laborer, instead of me owning part of your shit, I want to build a network.
Right.
Well, hey, if I get a job, I hire you. And if you get a job, you hire me.
Right.
And it's a simple concept of vertical integration that
Right.
all the big boys use. Like Walmart, they don't do anything but sell shelf space.
Right.
So they don't own 95% of the products.
Right.
But they have their own brand of products on the shelves. So when you go to bread, they got Wonder Bread, but then they got Walmart brand. And this is essentially what I want to do with my platform. Is, hey, you can put your shit with mine.
Right.
PolitiKan is a digital Walmart for creators.
You can't explain that no better, man. So starting off as just a podcast, you're now a full-fledged broadcasting company doing journalism, media, interviews. I mean, everything, movies, film. Talk about your thought process on kind of graduating just from podcasting to doing all these other things, or kind of growing the company to doing all these other things. Was that the vision at first, or did that just come along the way, just by meeting people and networking?
For me, I walk by faith, not by sight. I decided what it was going to be, and that was pretty much it for me. I was pressing a lot, trying to make it happen within my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that it's going to happen, but it's going to happen in God's time. So let me not worry about how it happened or who it happened with. Let me make sure that I wake up every day. And Will Smith, he had a speech where he said, don't focus on, trying to build a brick wall. Focus on laying a brick a day. So if you lay a brick a day, you look up and you got a brick wall.
Right.
So at PolitiKan, this is what we doing. Is we ain't trying to hit no home runs.
Right.
We ain't trying to. We focus on laying a brick a day.
Right. Great, brother. And that goes to show in life, period. You can't rush anything. You can't jump hoops. Likely, they say if it sounds too good to be true, it likely is. There's no shortcuts to it. It's nothing but hard work, strapping on your boots every day, and building a brick a day. So now the podcast is popping. The media, the blog is popping. Got a lot of progress on it. Got a space with the West Side Story newspaper. Got a lot of progress with the blog and everything. The podcast is on it. You got the media going out there getting footage of professionals, whether it's music or sports. When is PolitiKan going to drop a feature film? Because I know PolitiKan, we in the filming. So let's let the folks know when we about to drop a film.
So right now we got a film called Urban Empire. And what I really want to do is I want to feature a lot of the artists out here. Because it's an IE-based film, and it's going to be, the whole setting is based in the Inland Empire. Because a lot of us come from outer areas and move here in our adolescence,
Right.
and we kind of got to adjust and blend to what the Inland Empire is. And it's just really a melting pot of a bunch of niggas from LA County coming from different, areas.
Right.
So, but at the same time, the IE is its own thing in itself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a lot of that doesn't get highlighted. If you're not out here, then you don't know the artists, you don't know the talent, you don't understand the scene.
Right.
So everybody is focused on trying to create culture because a culture for the Inland Empire really doesn't exist like it does out in LA.
Right. Exactly.
So the film, I really want to use a bunch of Inland Empire artists to cast it and to fill roles, and to use their music as a soundtrack.
Right.
Because if we get these films in film festivals, and you're at what's that big film festival in Utah? Sundance. We get our film in a film festival like Sundance. Not only is everybody at this film festival going to see these artists, but they're going to hear their music in the soundtrack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just finding different ways to provide value to the creators in the Inland Empire.
Right.
Because everybody's just out here trying to figure it out for themselves.
Right. And everybody don't have to try to figure it out for themselves. Everybody learn how to work together in some way or form. It's a lot of, especially in the Black culture, the crab in the bucket mentality. You put the ladder up, you climb the ladder, and there's 30 niggas behind you, and as you climb, you pulling the ladder up away from niggas.
I think that also is a dumb mentality as Black people. For us, it's like one time somebody say something you don't like, one time somebody do something, now they automatically just X'd out, they're excommunicated. Now you in the corporate world, when it comes to negotiation, motherfuckers is back and forth, doing all type of sneaky shit, backhanded shit.
Yep.
And at the end, the deal get done. They sign the paper, they shake hands, and they celebrate. And they never talk or mention all the bullshit that they went through.
Thank you.
They don't cry about it. They remember.
Right.
But they understand that it's tactics.
Right.
And Black people, we don't have tactics. So the first thing we go to is, nigga, I'll fuck you, I beat your ass.
Exactly.
Instead of learning the mental gymnastics that is America.
Exactly. I like that you said that, because like you said, you could be working with somebody on something, you have a disagreement, or something is said, or it be some petty shit. Somebody will hear some shit. They'll just completely disappear off the face of the earth. Like, fuck, you a fuck nigga, or you somebody I can't trust that motherfucker, or he bad business. No, like you said, you talk about it. People don't want to talk about shit. People don't want to confront the problem, talk about it, get over it, and create some magic. So a lot of shit is lost in our community. We don't even get the opportunity to create sometimes because we can't get over little petty things and work together. So I'm glad you highlighted that.
Now another thing is that we like, oh, they trying to use me. They trying to use me. My mentality is use me as much as you can, because all that does is raise my value.
Exactly.
All that does is make me worth more. If you're not being used, then what is you? You're useless. You're the definition of useless if you're not being used. So a lot of niggas will go with no business than to be used by somebody the way that they view it as being used.
Right.
For me, I'm gonna work with you. I'm gonna give my all. I'm a man of my word. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do the best, put my best foot forward for everybody that I'm involved with.
Right.
But if you burn me, you burn me.
Right.
That ain't my fault.
Right. Exactly.
Everybody that I didn't fuck with, I did solid business. I was there. If I said I was gonna be there, I was there. Mm-hmm. I gave you my full effort. I did as much as I could for you.
Right.
Every motherfucker that I ever worked with. And if you ain't here with me now, it ain't because of me.
Right. Facts. And that's doing solid business, remaining solid. All you could do on your end is do solid business. And then, like you said, I was talking to somebody else about moving with intent. If you have good intentions while you're moving with intent, a person got to look at, okay, this person may not have worked out this time with this situation, but that person had good intentions. So you got to kind of separate the two. And then you can't get caught up in that, because if you separate the two, you're able to separate personal from business. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you pointed that out. We need to graduate that with everybody, and everybody needs to have that mentality in order for us to win. So PolitiKan being around for now 3 years, they say you're not in profit yet for the first 3 to 5 years of business. Don't you think we're right on schedule in that in third year, creeping towards that fourth with a lot of big things coming for 2022?
And I think that for a moment, because we feel it.
Right.
If you're here and you're part of the team and you know where we've been and where we come from, we feel the momentum, and we're just. I think that a moment we got so wrapped up in trying to kick down the door, right, that we were all focusing on the cash.
Right.
And that's when the money runs from.
Right.
So I think that we really, as a company, really took a slow down. We were doing events. We were doing live stream concerts. We were running around, taking thousands of meetings. And now, you know what I'm saying? It's like we ain't taking no meetings. We're focusing on the content. We're out doing our media stuff. We're really zeroing in on what we got in this game to do in the first place.
Right.
So I think that is really the key. Is being willing to step out and do something, but stick to the plan.
Right.
Because we set the goals and we set the plan.
Right.
And the pandemic happened and it kind of threw us for a loop, and we were just trying to figure it out. But now that the world's back open and we settling back into, our original, trajectory.
Right. Right. And the growth. So talk about in the beginning, being out there in the media, red carpet, you did the BET Awards in the beginning, had some pretty serious interviews with the, Westbrook sisters, Morgan, and what's the other one's name? Crystal. The smart guy father. I forgot his name as well, but you had some serious interviews. But one thing you pointed out to me is you was out there alone. So talk about your experiences then versus now having a team and having cats that you could rely on to help you get the job done.
Being out there alone is kind of like surreal. It feels fake. Just to be honest with you, the best way I can describe it is like you right here and you doing this, but because nobody's there, Like you can send them pictures and videos. You could take, but I'm not one that really likes to stop my life to take a picture of a moment.
Right.
I like to live in the moment. So it was really like bittersweet when I would be out at the BET Awards and it's the celebrity basketball game. I'm watching Chris Brown and these niggas hoop, and I'm just there by myself.
Right.
And I leave and I go to the Nick Cannon Wildin' Out Girl fashion show. And we seeing all the Wildin' Out girls in bikinis.
Right.
And I'm like, the homies would love to enjoy this, but
right.
I'm there by myself. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
It was a bittersweet thing. It was like, you know what? Without a team, I'm not really going to be able to enjoy this fully.
Right.
Like starting a podcast was one thing, but I was never really wanting to be like a personality or be in front of the camera.
Right.
Before I started my podcast, I was off Facebook. I didn't have an Instagram. I came back to social media specifically to have a presence because I was doing the podcast now.
Right.
I used to be heavy on Twitter. That was probably my biggest social media platform.
Yeah.
I was an avid Twitterer. But I had left social media for about 2 years.
Damn.
So I was going through a process called self-actualization.
Get into it. Self-actualization.
And in the process, I ran into questions. Every day I would, speak to myself. And I would ask myself these questions and answer these questions to myself. It's like, who are you? What do you want to do? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? You know what I'm saying? What is your ultimate goal? These things that nobody really answer within themselves. So I went through the process and I reached a road bump because and it was like, describe yourself in one word. And I hit a roadblock because I was like, damn, I can't even think of one word that would describe me. Like, that should do me for a loop. Like, I wasn't going to just throw something out there.
Right.
If I wanted to come with a word, I wanted it to really, mean, like, Kalum.
Right.
Like, when you hear that word and you hear Kalum and you know me, you know that is a perfect way to describe it.
Right.
And that word was unyielding. And by definition, it's a force that will not stop or lose its momentum for any reason or purpose.
And that fits now. Now that you say that, you know what I'm saying? Just being on this journey with you over the last 2 years, I can see where that fits. You know what I'm saying? We've came a long way, coming from San Bernardino, pandemic hitting us, kicking us out the studio, having us, not having a plan and damn near just stalling and getting back to it. Landing here at Riverside Studios, growing a team, got people with cameras with us now. We got, organizers. We got a team of people now. Talk about where do you see PolitiKan becoming as far as the valuation over the next 3 to 4 years?
You talking about financially?
Well, not necessarily financially.
You're talking about now. My first goal with the company was really to provide a platform for the Inland Empire, because this is where we're at. This is where we're located. But that was a small goal. Now that we're here, and streaming is something different, podcasting is something different, broadcasting is live streaming now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The game has completely changed. So as I reevaluate where PolitiKan is headed, the main focus is a blog. As journalism is the thing that got us in the door, and that's the thing that is going to, kick down the door for us.
Right.
So we got the PolitiKan Forum, which is our blog, where, our podcast, our picture galleries, you know what I'm saying, our blog write-ups.
Right.
And, you know, majority of all our content ultimately ends up on our blog at some point, you know, in some way, shape, or fashion. So, you know, instead of having a website where you can go and we have a site where, you know, we can also provide, you know, featured journalists
Right.
with a platform where they, you know, they can go and cover events, where they can, you know, sharpen their skills as a writer, where they can learn the game from the journalistic standpoint, you know, with some real world experience.
Right.
So, you know, starting off, it's, you know, it's a broadcasting company, you know, because like we have the Roku channel, and we plan to do a radio station.
Right.
So we will be a full-fledged, you know, broadcasting network when it's all said and done. But right now, I see the biggest opportunity for politicking in the space is in the blog space.
Right.
You know, artists need write-ups and they need this type of content, and it's hard to find, you know. It's hard to find a podcast in the Inland Empire for you to go, you know, get some interviews in or get some exposure.
Right.
You know, a lot of these artists, when we interview them, they tell us that this is their first time.
Right.
Like they never
did it.
They never done this because it's just not enough opportunity in the Inland Empire for this type of shit. And this is why politicking is vital.
Right.
You know, it's not about me. It's about we.
That's right. That's right. So do you see politicking stretching out, you know, politicking east, you know, in the East Coast and other places like this that don't have opportunities like this?
Yes, I plan definitely to take this, you know, international.
Right.
Because there's a lot of underground European artists. There's a whole hip hop scene overseas that ain't getting shine. You know, these artists need the same verification that the American artists need to get their blue checks, to get their SEO up. You know, it's the same game around the world.
Right.
You know, ASCAP, BMI, you know, the platforms are the same no matter what country you're in. Just the language is different.
Simple. So being taking it international, at that point, you feel you have the West Coast, the East Coast, international. After that, how about the sports side? So you got the artists, you got maybe the actors, but the sports, politics and sports, don't you think there's a whole lane for politics and sports?
When I got into this and I started journalism, the whole reason I got into journalism is because I wanted to get into the Olympics. I said, if I get politicking into the Olympics, I'm a legend. I go down in history. At the last Olympics, there were only 3 black media sources. In an international stage, only 3 black-owned media sources at the Olympics. So if I can't be number 4, you know, that is the ultimate goal, you know. Because we do something like that, we're international immediately.
Right. So politicking at the Olympics. You know, there is an Olympics coming up pretty soon. Is it the goal in getting to that Olympics?
I believe it's coming to LA.
It's coming to LA pretty soon, either this time or the next time. I gotta check. I'm not sure if it's
whenever the Olympics come to LA, we will be here and we will be ready.
Along with the Super Bowl. So things like that, the Olympics, Super Bowl, NBA Finals, big sporting events. Look forward to see politicking out there covering that. Do you kind of feel that people just don't know about this? Because people ask me all the time, how'd you get into this? What are you guys doing? Like, what is the goal? What are you going to do with this? A lot of people are kind of ignorant to what this actually is and the power of it. And I didn't really know either until having all the conversations with you. So briefly, how could you tell people about the power of what we're doing over here with the media and being black media?
Okay, so first things first is algorithms. Google is the biggest traffic site. So there's only 2 ways to be found in Google, and that is to rank in Google or to pay for Google ads. So when somebody Googles something, let's say they want to Google a podcast, it's either you have to have enough content and SEO to stand out from all your competitors, or you have to pay Google to make sure that you pop up when somebody is looking for these type of services. So understanding that a podcast is the best way for SEO, and podcasts and blog posts are two of the best ways for SEO as far as you being found in search engines. If you Google my name, Kalum Vaughns, right now, you'll go through 15 pages of Google before you see a piece of something that's not me. Because I understood early that your resume is not going to be this piece of paper and this cover letter that you hand to people now. Your resume is going to be your social media. Your resume is going to be when they put you in that Google. Your resume is going to be your Wikipedia page. Your resume is going to be what they can find on you in that search engine, because they have their own algorithms that they put this information into to project if you're profitable or not.
Mm.
So understanding that it's a computer, I'm a human, all I got to do is tell the computer what it want to hear, and I beat it.
Right. Facts. Tell the computer what it want to hear, and I beat it. A lot of people don't.
Computers can't think.
Yeah,
they can only compute. That's why they're computers.
Right.
They compute the information they receive.
Right.
So this is why hackers can hack, because they know what to tell the computer to get into your shit.
Right. Simple concept. A lot of people don't understand.
We were hacking games growing up, and then left, right, BB too.
That was a hack.
Right. Extra lives.
Right. Extra lives.
Easy fatalities.
Right.
Mortal Kombat.
Hacking.
That was a hack.
Cheat codes.
Exactly. They called them cheat codes.
That was a hack.
That was a hack.
On GTA, getting unlimited weapons and be able to get the police off.
Mm-hmm. You're hacking the game. The system is not built for you to be able to do this.
Right.
But because computers can only think linearly, in a straight line.
Right.
There's all these back doors, and they try to hide these back doors with different shit to make you never look at them. Right. And these hackers are good at identifying these back doors and figuring out how to get through them.
Right.
There's literally a GTA. We used to play this, and it was the bank heist where you robbed the bank, and we literally would drive into a garage, drive out the back corner of the garage, fly through a void, and end at the end of the mission with the money.
Cheating.
And we would continuously drive through this void in the game to hit the bank heist to get our money up in the game.
Right. Hack.
We found the back door in the game and drove through it to beat the game.
Right.
And that's what we got to do with this system. The system of America, this internet, is that we got to find that back door, go through it, and tell all the homies come through immediately.
Right. So that's pretty much an analogy like the whole Rosa Parks thing. She found a way. She came back and said, hey, come through this way.
Oh, you talking about Harriet Tubman?
Harriet Tubman, my bad. Harriet Tubman, y'all. Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Not Rosa Parks. She didn't get out her seat. Harriet Tubman, she found the way. She found the trail. Mm-hmm. She escaped herself, but she didn't just do that. She went back and said, okay, y'all, this is the way. So it's kind of like the same concept, different subjects.
For me, and one of the biggest things that I said in the original episode 0 is that even if this blows somebody else up, my goal was never to blow myself up.
Right.
My goal was to provide a platform to blow. Because if I blow you up, even if you move on, now people know that I have the skills to blow them up.
Right.
And that people would come through my platform
to get blown up. So it's a win-win.
I get the red carpet. You didn't see me. You don't see me in front of the camera. You don't see me. I put these, put my people in these positions because this is what they want for their lives.
Right.
This is an opportunity that I have, but I necessarily don't want. So why not put my people in position for these opportunities?
Right.
And I don't have to want anything about, back from that.
Right.
And that's another thing is that, everything's tit for tat.
Right.
Just because I've done something for somebody, I don't expect anything back.
Right. Right.
But one thing that I have learned is that that's how people burn you. It's because, no, I don't expect nothing back. But when I need something and I tap into you and you treat me like a nigga off the street, that's when you lose me.
That's when you lose.
Because I gave you nothing but love.
Right.
I don't expect no favors. I don't expect nothing free.
Right.
But I expect return love.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of times, people take your love and run with it. And that's kind of the game. And that's why this game kind of makes you bitter.
Right.
When you celebrating, when you sitting there and you LeBron James and you win that first championship, you're not thinking about your mama. You're not thinking about your family. You're not thinking about your wife. You're not thinking about your kids. You're thinking about all the motherfuckers that said you couldn't do it.
Exactly.
That doubted you, that said you would never win.
Right. Right.
And it sucks that
that's the first.
That's the way that this game makes you.
Yeah.
Is that when you finally get there and you reach your goal and you win the championship, all you could think about is the motherfuckers that didn't believe in
the naysayers. Instead of celebrating the victory, you're thinking about that motherfucker that told you weren't gonna be shit. That motherfucker that said your shit sucked. That motherfucker that had that negative comment. Damn, that's deep.
And understand that, and knowing that going into the game, this is why I'm hard to read. I'm real laid back. I observe everything. I really don't say nothing. Just because I don't want you to figure me out.
Right.
I'm on a mission. I'm here for a reason. And I'm not here to be social.
Right. Facts.
I'm down to chop it up, but I ain't really here to be social. I ain't in this game to play.
Right.
I'm here for a reason. I'm here, to handle business.
Right.
So, some say I used to be a nigga that played around a lot. I used to joke. I used to, always talk shit, mess with it. Real charismatic nigga.
Correct.
That's not who I am anymore.
Evolution, change, man. Change is a positive thing. And knowing now that you can have a good heart, but you got to require reciprocity. A lot of relationships don't last. Business, personal, all type of different relationships don't last because there's no reciprocity. Like you said, you show love and then people don't show love back. And sometimes when you have a good heart, you let that slide for so long. And then you realize, damn, I can't just keep letting this shit slide, man. I got to really...
But then you change who you are. And every time you change who you are, you change the trajectory of your life.
Right.
Your life, a life is a path.
Right.
And every major decision that you make either changes your path for the negative or changes your path for the positive. Right. So every time that you choose to change yourself for the negative because of somebody else, you're changing your trajectory, on a different path.
Right.
So no, the key to this is staying who you are no matter what.
Stay true to yourself.
Jay-Z said, my process is my process. I'm not trying to make no song sound like nobody in the game. I'm going in and I'm doing me. Right. And that's why I've been successful. That he attributed his biggest success to being able to stay him 100%. He said, when I walk in any room, I'm me. When I walk in the room with the gangsters and the drug dealers,
I mean,
this is who I am. When I walk in the door with the suits and the bit,
that's right.
I'm able to walk into any room and be myself.
Right.
That is my superpower.
Right.
You know, Nipsey had that same thing. You know, and I believe that I have that same thing. Right. And that's the reason why I'm doing this, is because I can walk into any room with any motherfucker of any walk of earth, be myself, and get shit done.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And, you know, that's what a great leader has, a person in business has. They have that characteristic and have that quality. Like you said, you named some greats, Ho, Nip, you know, those guys, you know, they do follow that and live by that. So it's great to see that, man. To let you know, it's been a pleasure taking this journey with you. We've came a long way. You know, in the beginning, lack of experience, our skills were down in a lot of shit, you know, with being in front of the camera. But, you know, it's like the perfect combination. You behind the camera, I'm on camera. You know, you've helped me sharpen my skills, helped me build my confidence, and turn me into the fucking famous homie. So, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for
that's crazy though. But the whole famous homie thing, man, is that, you know, when I first put Ron on the red carpet, you know, Michael Blackson was right there. We couldn't get the Michael Blackson interview, and I look over and I see Eric Bellinger, and I'm like, bro, we ain't getting Michael Blackson, man. Fuck it,
right.
Go get Eric Bellinger.
Right.
And he turned around, and you could tell this nigga didn't know who the fuck Eric Bellinger was. And that's why I'm like, this nigga don't even know who he's talking to. Like, sometimes he meets these artists and he doesn't understand the caliber of people that he was running into. So now, you know, he's realizing it and he's embracing it, you know, but early on, he didn't understand as a journalist, you got to know your subjects beforehand. Right. And that you got to do this studying and this homework. So he was just walking in, chopping it up with niggas and be like, oh, who was that? And I'm like, nigga, that's the nigga. And you don't even know, you know, and I think that's half of the reason why you're such a natural at this, is because no stage is too big. You know?
Right.
It's like, no matter who's in front of that mic, you know, it's just another nigga.
It's another nigga. That's
you know. So he be interviewing famous motherfuckers all the time and don't even know it. So that's the famous homie, man.
I fuck with it, and just like I told you, you know, earlier we talked about the Ye and Yeezy and Beans thing. I feel like this is the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and take that and run with it. Call me the famous homie. That's the new name, the famous homie. PolitiKan, we a great team, man. I look forward to 2022 for us. We got films ahead. We got festivals. We got a whole bunch of stuff we doing. So let's keep on moving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, as I always sign off, like, man, you really, like I said, really want to focus on laying a brick a day. And to really break that down is that every day we have 24 hours. And instead of trying to reach, you know, these bigger goals every day, what you do is you set a micro goal. You set a goal where, hey, I'm going to clean my room today. And when you get up and you clean that room and you're done, you did what you set out to do that day. You laid that brick. Right. So every day you want to have some type of goal that you can finish within that 24 hours, because there's a certain personal satisfaction that you get when you wake up, you set a goal, and you complete it. Humans were goal-oriented. We thrive off goals. So if every day you get up and you do something that you deem is necessary towards building towards your future, and you start a task and you finish that task in that same day, you land a brick a day.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. It reminded me of a favorite line by one of my favorite lines by Nipsey. He just go, you know, find your purpose or you wasting air. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? I believe that you really found your purpose. I know I found mine. And we happen to be on the same team. Mm-hmm. So what the fuck can stop us? You know what I'm saying?
One of my favorite lines from Nipsey ain't even a bar. It's the opening line before he even start rapping. You say, I'm in this shit. Why not go hard? Make no sense not to. I'm in this shit. I'm already in it. I'm already here. I'm already doing it.
Right.
Why not go hard? It make no sense not to.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, as we sign out of here, man, you already know, Mr. PolitiKan, man, check out the PolitiKan Forum. Check out all our podcasts at the podcast, PolitiKan Radio on all podcast platforms, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music. Man, we everywhere. We on the TuneIn app. Check us out, man. We everywhere, man. Mr. PolitiKan signing off, man. I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but I'm going to get to it, man. PolitiKan the podcast. We out.
Yes, sir.